From the station that's on your side, you're watching News 19 at 11.
This is the time we need you to be prepared. This is a time that we need you to take care of your family. Know where your kids are going to be. They need to be at home. Don't plan on going any places that you don't have to go. And most of all, do not drive into the water.
That is good advice from the governor tonight. It has been raining nonstop in parts of the Midlands since very early this evening, and it appears this is only the beginning. Good evening now, and thanks for being with us on this very rainy Friday night. As you just saw behind me, South Carolina's weatherman Jim Gandy is hard at work now. He's been looking at all the models. That is a very, very busy radar you have up right now.
And it's been very busy in the eastern part of our state because this entire fetch of moisture has been coming on up into South Carolina. This is a time lapse of the radar over the last 3 hours, and we've been watching the rain increase along the central South Carolina coast and coming right on inland into the eastern part of the Midlands. Let me show you the very latest radar that we have. The thunderstorms are along the coast, but we've got moderate rain now falling through all of the eastern part of the Midlands, including Lee, Sumter, Clarendon counties, about the eastern half of Orangeburg County. We've already seen some good rains move through the Columbia area. And this is the radar estimate of rainfall. And we've had some very heavy amounts over in southeastern North Carolina. That's from earlier today. This is just from this evening, right through here from Florence to Charleston, South Carolina. Already the radar is estimating 2 to 5 inches of rain, and the Storm Prediction Center is now indicating that there is likely to be some serious flooding in the Charleston area in the next few hours. That's only going to be making its way into the Midlands, and over the course of the entire weekend, ending Monday morning. This is what our latest computer model run is showing. There's going to be a lot of rain for our area. And this isn't a direct result of Hurricane Joaquin. Right now, it's beginning to move away from the Bahamas. The latest information, it's got maximum sustained winds at 125 miles per hour. It's moving northeast now at 10 miles per hour, so it's moving away from the Bahamas. It's going to pass close to Bermuda on Sunday, and then it's going to curve out into the Atlantic. The effect of this hurricane, though, is that the moisture is being tapped, and we'll look at the effects of that coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Jim, thank you so much. Our state emergency management team has been making preparations for all of this rain over the last several days. Our Kobe Gallagher joins us live now from their West Columbia headquarters, where I know it's probably still busy at this hour. Kobe.
Well, JR, it certainly is busy, but they are staying calm right now. They are just monitoring the conditions, seeing how it unfolds. But we do have a little piece of new information to report. Horry County is now on OPCON 1, that is operating condition 1. That is because they are having some disaster areas happening due to flooding in the North Myrtle Beach area. We are still remaining at OPCON 3. However, there are about 2 or 3 counties that are on OPCON 2 or 3 as they continue to monitor that storm. People are here. They are on shift all night. They're standing by just to see. They're going to have people on all night in case anything is needed. They have those people here that can go out and see how everything is going. 7:45 a.m. is the next meeting. That is towards the end of the shift. When this shift ends at 8 a.m., they're going to be prepping the next people who come in to see how they're going to handle the day as this storm unfolds. Now, earlier today, Governor Nikki Haley was here, as you heard earlier. She was here telling everybody that this is a very serious situation. This is not something to take lightly, and this is what they had to say during that press conference.
This will be a historic rainfall event that we have never seen before in South Carolina. If you want to compare it to something, I would compare it to the 2 winter storms we went through a year ago. That's very much what we're going to expect. We are going to see power outages. We're going to see road closures. We're going to see a lot of flooding. So it's going to require a different type of work. What we're looking at is just, first of all, telling people to have a good, restful weekend at home. It is important, if at all possible, it is best if you stay home, stay safe.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Jim Gandy, and I'm here in the News 19 newsroom. I'm going to be your anchor for a while. We have some serious situations which have developed this morning because of the heavy rains occurring here in the Midlands. There are a number of flooded roads, and it would be impossible to go through the list of what roads are closed at this time because the list is growing by the minute. But we can tell you that here in Columbia itself, it is becoming almost impossible to get around.
The pattern that we've been discussing over and over again is a lot of the rain would eventually move from southeast to northwest and then start to shift. We showed that through a lot of models. Now it has almost a complete east to west orientation. And the big problem with that is that it's just one shower after another going over the same locations all throughout the Midlands.
Shandon Edwards.
Shandon, tell me what's going on right now. Yep, step this way for me a little bit.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this morning my brother called me and said that our dad was stuck in the water in front of Chick-fil-A on Decker. He called my brother and said that his window was cracked and that he was going down and the water just hit the side of his car and swept him into the fence by Dent Middle School.
Now tell me, which car is he in back here?
There's a red car, but his car is the one that's facing like towards Chick-fil-A.
How long ago did he drive in?
It's been a while, and the water keeps covering it, and then it goes down, and then it covers it, and then it goes down, and he's not answering, and we don't know what happened. But when I got here almost an hour ago, the fire department was there, the ambulance was there.
Yeah.
It's very swift water, but some people drove through, then their cars got stuck, and then somebody started shooting. And so,
why were they shooting?
We don't know. But somebody started shooting, and they had the emergency people had to leave because it's an unsafe environment. Because when 911 called me back, because I called them, and then when they called me back, they said there's an unsafe environment.
Right. And you don't know who's shooting right now?
Nobody knows.
And we heard that a couple seconds ago. Yeah. All right, guys, we're going to throw it back to you for now. We're going to learn a little bit more, but right now we are at O'Neill Court and Decker Boulevard, where you can see there are several cars right now in just a river of water coming across the boulevard right now. I've got some people that told me some cars have actually gone off of the road. We haven't seen that personally, but it's very conceivable. We've got just a ton of water coming across here. It looks like an absolute river. We're going to throw it back to you for now.
Michael, I've got another question. Did she say they got her father out of the vehicle, or is he still in that vehicle?
I don't believe I think he's still in that vehicle right now, guys. They said that there were some first responders here, but they left when there was gunfire. You know, we heard a couple of shots just a few seconds ago. They say that they're shooting in the air right now to let people know they're still there. That's what I'm hearing from the folks right here.
I don't even understand that. I don't understand that logic behind doing something like that. So what you're telling us, Michael...
I'm a little confused right now, too, but we're going to try and figure this out, okay?
So what you're telling us right now is that there are...
We're going to throw it back to you. We're going to figure this out, okay?
Okay, we got to let him go. Yeah. Okay, we got to let him go do his job. Okay. Savannah Levins, if you can hear us, I know you're looking at the situation. You're on the corner of Garner's Ferry and Wildcat Road. Savannah, since you've been there, this situation has progressively gotten worse.
It has just gotten so much worse, Darcy. I'm going to step aside and give you a live picture as we're seeing it right now. The water's moving quickly. It has come up so fast. There was some sort of emergency rescue situation that just happened a little bit ago down the street there. I mean, it's creeping up on us at this point. This sign where you see that Fort Jackson sign there and this Midlands Tech sign, we were standing there getting video just an hour ago. These cars, there are at least 4 cars here completely submerged underwater that you cannot even see. Luckily, those people did get out of those vehicles in time, but like I said earlier, I mean, we actually had to go up to emergency responders here and tell them, hey, there's people in these cars. The visibility is so reduced, especially when it's dark out. Luckily, the sun is coming up a little bit now, but there are people staying in these cars, and they did want to reiterate that if your car does get stuck in water, because it is moving so quickly, you need to try to get out if you can and try to seek higher ground, because we've just seen these cars go from stalled to completely underwater in, you know, half an hour.
I saw early this morning, that white vehicle, Savannah, that's the car that I saw early this morning when I was coming into work, and it was stalled. That's the car that made me take a quick left into the McDonald's parking lot and get to work that way. Now that car is almost covered up to its hood. This is I-77 that we're looking at now. Okay, this is Michael's shot. This is Decker Boulevard.
Wow.
This is.
And you know, I go down there every so often, and it's just amazing.
This is an even more disturbing picture for us because at this point we know that first responders have had to leave that area because there were shots fired. We just heard from a woman who said that her father was in one of these vehicles. He, I believe, has diabetes and went out to get some food. And so we don't know whether or not he's still trapped in this car. This is an incredibly dangerous situation.
Look how fast that water is moving.
And
these aren't parked cars. This is where they've washed off to.
Yeah, that's right.
They weren't parked there. That's where they've been washed out to.
Yeah, they're off the road.
That's correct. That's correct. And when we talk about flash floods, that's why it's so important to heed these warnings, because that's what the flash means. It happens in a moment's notice.
It is 7:27, and as some of you are waking up to the situation right now, this is a Sunday. Most people would be getting ready to go to church today. We and the state of South Carolina are advising you to stay home, stay in place. If you are safe, do not go anywhere. Stay where you are.
Let's talk about some of the things that we've seen develop over the last several hours. An apartment complex off of St. Andrews Road, Broad River Road, had to be evacuated by the Columbia Fire Department. The Irmo Fire Department is saying to anyone who needs help, if your home starts to flood, go to the second floor of your home. Let's say you don't live in a split-level home. Dial 911 if it is an emergency. For those of you who are in Clarendon County, shelters have been opened there in Scotts Branch and Manning, East Clarendon High School. The state has been operating at OPCON 1. That's the State Emergency Management Division's designation for a catastrophic situation. We have been operating at OPCON 1 since 6:30 last night. What should that mean to you? Well, the last time, is that a garbage can? Is that a dumpster?
That's a dumpster.
That is a dumpster that is now floating down Garners Ferry Road, Wildcat Road. Savannah, can you hear us? We need to come back out live to you to talk to us about that.
Yep, I can hear you. I'm actually rolling on this right now. This is a huge metal trash can completely floating down. Actually, right where it's passing now is where we lost that porta potty earlier, where it was just completely submerged. This is just, I mean, a dire, dire situation here.
Savannah, thank you. We're going to stay on your live picture, and if you need to interrupt, feel free to do that. But we also want the folks to know that off of I-95, if you live on a back road and you think to yourself, well, if I can get off my back road and get on the interstate, I'll be fine. Think again. There are 32 miles on I-95 that have been closed due to flooding, and we're hearing from the State Highway Patrol that as of yesterday, there were 3 confirmed weather-related deaths. We pray that that number does not get any higher, but folks, listen, if you don't heed the warnings, those numbers will increase. In Lexington County, the Lexington Leisure Center, located at 108 Park Road, has been open for those of you who have been evacuated and you're looking for shelter. Told you just a moment ago, Sonia Gutierrez was going to join us on set. Sonia, I know you haven't been in the Midlands long, but my goodness, we have not ever seen anything like this. And we know that we have so many viewers out there who may not have English as their first language. So we wanted to make sure that we were able to communicate this message to them in a way that they understood and that they could be safe. So do you want to talk to us about that now?
You know what? Absolutely. I think that is so important. Latinos are the fastest growing population here. They live in places that are hit very hard. Principal Road is one of them. So para todos ustedes que nos están viendo ahorita, tengan mucho cuidado en las calles. Muchos lugares están inundados. Por ejemplo, la Decker Boulevard, la Percival Road, el I-77 y el 20. Estamos recibiendo reportes de que esos lugares hay muchísima agua. Es muy peligroso de estar manejando. Así es de que si no tienen ningún lugar que salir, por favor no lo hagan.
You're caught up to date on what we know so far. Curfews in effect again. Richland County's curfew begins at 7 o'clock tonight. It goes till 6 in the morning. Sumter and Clarendon with curfews from 7 tonight until 7 in the morning. We know that Richland offices, state offices, are closed tomorrow. Sumter offices. We do know that most schools in the affected area are closed tomorrow as well. And we're also hearing the possibility possibility that 2 more dams are about to breach here in Richland County.
A mandatory evacuation has been put into place for an area not very far from the Forest Acres community, and then the Beaver Dam Road area, the Beaver Dam near Wildwood neighborhood in Columbia, is one of the areas where the dam is expected to break, as well as the Upper Rocky Branch Dam. We're getting this information in just within the last couple of minutes from Lieutenant Curtis Wilson with the Richland County Sheriff's Department. So he said, quoting, "It's not about if the dams will break, it is when they'll break."
All right, Heather Fontaine is at an apartment complex off hard-hit Garners Ferry Road. Heather, what do you have for us tonight?
Well, I'm at Austin Woods Apartments. Now, this creek not looking nearly as bad as some of the flooding we've been seeing today, but about 36 hours ago, it was overflowing. Neighbors told me it had to have been going 65 miles per hour, strong enough anyway to get this bridge from 100 feet up creek over here to the parking lot. Now, that water overflowing into these people's homes. Some of them don't have renter's insurance for this flooding, and they're wondering what they're going to do.
When I open up the door, it just...
Disaster struck Austin Woods Apartments early Sunday morning. Charlene Palmer sent us this video, inches of water spilling into her home.
I started taking buckets that night. I went over 200-300 buckets trying to lift this water up out of here.
Overflowing from this creek, tearing up the road, breaking down barriers, and destroying hundreds of apartments in the complex.
I was trying to save some of my furniture, but the water already caught some of it as it is, and it already stinking.
Many even filling buckets of water so they can flush. Charlene and some of her neighbors frustrated and waiting for management to take action.
We feel that they should have had somebody out here just want to at least even block that road off right there, at least put a caution sign up there. They ain't even spoke to the neighbors.
Others living at Austin Woods Apartments are giving a different story.
They came out today. They had spoken with a couple residents who came out this morning. They had spoken to them. The lady that's coming in today, she's supposed to be pulling up carpets to different sections because of the flood damage.
Andrea Black also experienced serious damage in her apartment, but says the complex management is new and her fellow neighbors need to be patient.
When people get mad, I understand, but at the same time, she's doing what she can do.
Neighbors told us they don't want to leave their homes for fear they may get broken into.
Hold my back.
Some continue to stay calm.
Things take time. Things don't happen overnight.
The bathroom floor came up.
Others speaking up until they see something done.
A lot of people have lost a lot out here, and a lot of people ain't had much as it is anyway. I done been up there early this morning, babe.
Now, the management wouldn't speak to us, and I reached out to their corporate offices. They haven't called back either, but maybe a little shed of light. A little bit ago, we did see a van out here that was a restoration home van. It was knocking on a couple of doors. We're told they're trying to rip out the carpets, starting over here and working their way around, so there might be some positive outlook, but for now, neighbors are just waiting to see when something's going to get done. Reporting live, I'm Heather Fontaine, News 19.
Heather, thank you.
We haven't seen this level of rain in the Low Country in 1,000 years. That's how big this is. That's how South Carolina is dealing with right now. The Congaree River is at its highest level since 1936. That's why we keep telling people, stay off the roads, stay out of the roadways.
The Columbia Canal, a very busy place right now. Lauren Thomas is there. And Lauren, I know they're working on a dam so that the process of getting that drinking water safe to drink once again can take place, correct?
Yes, guys, I'm going to move out of the way so you can see. The helicopter here is bringing over sandbags, a sandbag. They've been doing this all afternoon, going back and forth, just bringing one-ton sandbags to help with the damming process that they're going into right now. And this was all because of that failed levee. And you can see, if Chris, you can pan over a little bit more, zoom in, that major hole right there that was not there earlier this week. But because of yesterday's accumulation of water in the canal and the flooding, that area broke, and you can see this large hole, and this is a major hole for the canal. This is the main source of water here in Columbia, and so today it's all about damming up the canal and to give them an opportunity to start making repairs.
Right now, this is a massive reconstruction of the wall of the canal. Just had a chance to confer with Major McClam. Things are going well. This is the National Guard, the State Guard, the Army Corps of Engineers, our city employees, private contractors, people volunteering their time, everyone working to make sure this is done right. Some of the important work that has to be done, it's never day you see a Chinook carrying heavy equipment or 1,000-pound sandbags over downtown Columbia, but it's happening. Some of the most important work that has to be done during daylight hours. So right now we're estimating that at probably close to sundown tomorrow, most of this important work should be done.
Okay. Well, what do you have to say for the people of Columbia going forward when it comes to their water and what they can do right now?
Sure. Well, earlier when this started, we had about over 130,000 customers out of water. Earlier today, that number was down to 42,000, and we're continuing to work to reduce that number. As we repair the breaches in the system, we'll have to turn some parts of the system off, and we'll turn it back on when the system is repaired. But we're on the way back.
We are in the process of damming up the canal to maintain a minimum water level in the canal. We've been very successful at maintaining a successful water level to be able to make sure that we can continue to put water through our treatment plant to continue to provide what we need to our water system. We will work through the night as we did last night, and we'll continue through tonight to continue to construct this dam. And once this dam is complete, we will be able to assess the actual damage and start the repairs to the dike itself, to the levee itself.
This is pretty incredible. Our News 19 chopper right now is right over that area. You just saw the South Carolina State Museum. They just flew past that, but this is such an impressive effort. When we say, step back and let the experts take care of things, listen to this plan that Joey Jaco, who's the Public Works Director of Utilities, was just explaining. They are damming up this canal, the Columbia Canal, because they have to keep water flowing into the treatment plant, because then that water comes to the city of Columbia and those of us living in the southeast who have been out of water for 3 days now. So he said they are bringing in 751-ton sandbags.
And you see them building it right there.
They're building it right now. When we say sandbags, that's not a sandbag that JR and I could carry. That's a 1-ton sandbag. It's hard to tell because we're looking from a chopper right now, from the News 19 chopper, but 750 sandbags are being brought in to dam up the Columbia Canal. On top of that, they will be sinking barges. Tomorrow, he said, not today, they are going to be deliberately sinking barges by filling those barges with water in order to get them to sink and create the barrier. They need this water level to stay at a certain level in the Columbia Canal so that it can keep flowing into our treatment system and then come out as clean water for those of you who are in downtown Columbia to drink, all of the businesses there, the 2 hospitals there that are in downtown Columbia, and then, of course, those of us who live and work out here in the southeast part of Columbia who have had some major water problems.
We are expecting updates on the catastrophic flooding this morning. Lexington officials are holding a press conference at 11. Then we'll have an update from the governor at 11:30. And at 12:30, Richland County officials will have a press conference as well. Well, problems continue to plague neighborhoods. Many, though, are sticking together. That is why we are on your side all day with the Midlands Disaster Relief Phone Bank. The Salvation Army is here to answer your calls from 6 to 8 tonight. So already underway. Let's go ahead and send things over to Jennifer Bellamy, who joins us now live here in the News 19 studios with the latest. Jennifer.
Good morning, Ashley. As you said, the phone lines are open. That number there at the bottom of your screen, it's going to stay up throughout the duration of the show, and we really want you to make those phones ring. I'm joined now with so many people who are helping to make this happen. We're going to start with you, Major Carlson. Tell us a little bit about what is the beauty of being able to donate here with the Salvation Army, because this money is going to stay here in our community.
Right. The donations we received today are going to continue to help to support the relief effort of the Salvation Army all across the Carolinas. Right now, there are over 15 feeding units spread out through our region. There are more resources coming in as we're continuing to make sure that we're in the right places, doing the right thing for folks that need us so desperately. And we just want to express our deep appreciation to everybody especially folks like JT's Automotive that have helped us to make such a wonderful impact. And we're just proud to be part of this area.
I know this has been a very trying time for so many people in our community. Some have lost their homes. They've lost many, if not all, of their possessions. JT, why is it so important for you to encourage other people to actually pick up that phone this morning and make a donation?
Oh, it's incredibly important, Jennifer. Incredibly important. The results of this storm are going to be with us for a long time to come. There are going to be people in all economic strata that are going to be strapped, but mostly those who are most in need are going to need more because they don't have anything left. The Salvation Army was here well before the storm. It's here during the storm, and it's going to be here after the storm, meeting the needs of the community. It's not just about the immediate disaster relief, but it's the community needs. How we get these people back on their feet? How do we get them back into the community? How do we put the smile on their face that's on your face right now? That's what the Salvation Army means. That's why it's so important to contribute. $5, $10, whatever comes to you. You see that number on the screen? Call it.
Now, 2 feet may not seem like a lot, but when it comes to raising your home from here to here, even the thought can be scary. And for many people in the Midlands, that's their reality as they decide whether or not to rebuild their home.
This is a game changer for all of us. You know, we're getting ready to go into debt on a house just to try to get it back where it was.
From the outside, Lisa Kay's home looks great, but when you go indoors, the damage from the historic flood is still visible.
Oh, it just became a whirlwind of figuring out exactly what to do.
All that beam up there. Before they put anything back together, the structure has to be dried out.
Ali Khan is the flood plan manager for the city of Columbia. He says after the drying out process, that's when homeowners should check with the city engineers to see if their home is below the 100-year floodplain. If it is, you'll have to raise it at least 2 feet above the floodplain.
So if your house is 1 foot below the 100-year floodplain, that means obviously you have to raise it at least 3 feet to become in compliance.
Khan says there is no time limit on when homes need to be repaired, but
if you want to get it done right. We don't want to cut the corners. Don't do any kind of unpermitted work.
Fortunately for Kay, her home does not need to be elevated, but she understands the fear behind making the decision to rebuild.
There are just so many unknowns to deal with actually getting back. I mean, a home is probably one of the most expensive things anyone ever buys. And then to not know where you stand with it or if you're going to get it back or how much debt you're going to have to go in to get it back. It's really, really scary.
Now, the city of Columbia understands that there are homeowners out there who still don't know what to do. So if you're still in need of information, you can check out this story on WLTX.com. Also, remember that the deadline to sign up with FEMA is January 3rd. Reporting in Columbia, Lauren Thomas, News 19, WLTX.